Good morning.
Good morning.
My family once had a little cottage in Milford, Connecticut, on the shores of the Long Island Sound. Back in the 1940s, when I was very young, we lived there year round while my dad went to college in New Haven, which was about a half hour away. My mother hated it. I remember watching her shovel coal into the furnace in the basement, the red glow of the fire flashing against her beautiful but angry and resentful face. The main use of the cottage after he graduated was as a place to spend the summer. Electric heat had been installed by then, no more shoveling coal, but for many years there was no hot water. We had to heat it on the stove. Mom's resentment continued, mainly because Dad wasn't much into helping. A few doors down from our cottage, there was a big house where lots of people lived. They were a large Portuguese family, and the grandparents were straight from the old country. I don't think the old people spoke English. I remember watching from the window as the grandfather there would leave to go fishing very early in the morning to help feed his family, and if he was especially lucky, maybe sell some fish. He had a wooden boat, and he rowed it with long wooden oars. One of his grandsons would sit in the back as a helper. I wanted so much to go with them, but that would never have been allowed. Later on, the grandfather got a small two-stroke outboard motor. Its putt-putt sound reverberated off the glassy water. Putt, 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 putt. He'd come back around 10 in the morning, and I'd sneak over there when I could to see what he had captured. Sometimes not much, but sometimes big fish, like striped bass and bluefish, flounders and porgies. My mother didn't like me to hang around the Portuguese family. They probably became pretty rough and rowdy in the evening. But my curiosity and my amazement were far more powerful than my obedience. They were very nice to me, and I think they liked having an awestruck audience, even if I was only a 5-year-old girl. They used minnows for bait and other things too, like fiddler crabs. But I was most aware of the minnows because many members of that family would participate in gathering them while I watched from the beach. They used a big net with wooden cylinders floating on top. 4 or 5 women and older children would drag the net through the water on calm days between the oyster beds and where the waves broke. That was just as amazing to me as the big fish. I played in the water around there all the time, and I couldn't see those little fish, but I could feel them when they bumped into me. Ticklefish, I called them. So much life swimming all around me, and I didn't know exactly what they were, but I could sense them, and I loved playing among them. I wonder if that awe that I felt back then was anything like how it was for the disciples in the story at the Sea of Tiberias. After hours of fruitless labor, Jesus proposed a simple change of direction for them. It resulted in awesome success, and he had gone to the trouble of creating a little barbecue for them, a satisfying breakfast of bread and fishes. Of course, that story is deeply metaphorical. as most things in John's Gospel are. It has to do with aiming the message at a different audience. As apostles, they would be casting their nets not toward their peers, but toward the Gentiles, a population of outsiders teeming with need. In meditating on this, I thought about the old Portuguese grandfather rowing his boat, putting in hard labor to provide for his family, and the women dragging the nets and mending them when they snagged on the oysters. Everybody worked. They probably all fought, too. But there was a cohesion there, which I, as an outsider, was privileged to observe. Peter, in the story, seems a lot less interested in the fish and his friends than he is in being with Jesus. While his friends are wrestling with the super haul in their net, he puts on some clothes and jumps in the water. This doesn't seem to me to have been especially helpful. The others were left dragging the net, while Peter, dragged down by his own clothes, swims or wades joyfully through the water in his own ecstatic anticipation. When they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" Did Peter's ecstasy mean that he loved Jesus more than the others did? Is there some kind of grading system about who loves God most? Or that Peter loved Jesus more than he loved the other disciples? Is love quantifiable? Peter said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus' response is, "Feed my lambs." My lambs. Lambs are little children. Jesus tells him to be kind and nurturing to the chronologically young, as well as to the spiritually young. Give them milk and honey, soft grass to nibble. Let them come and stand on the beach and watch. Peter is not especially noted for warming up to children. If you love me, Jesus is saying, love them. Jesus asks a second time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Tend my sheep." Tend to, take care of, nurse the infirm, help the stricken, help when your boatmates are struggling to bring in the fish. When you do this, you are doing it for me. He said to him the third time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter felt hurt because he said to him the third time, "Do you love me?" And he said to him, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Feed my sheep." In your day-to-day life, Peter, be to others a source of spiritual nutrition, not superficially, like a bag of Cheetos, but be like a healthy meal, like this breakfast I have prepared for you on the beach. That is how to love me. Theologians write about the different meanings of the word love that occur in this passage, which was written in Greek. Jesus uses the word agape, which is a fully committed, accepting, unconditional kind of love. Peter responds with phileo, which means brotherly love and friendship, a sense of belonging together in the same group. So the conversation went, "Do you agape me? Lord, you know I phileo you." To me, it seems like Peter is creating a bit of distance that he doesn't know he's doing and doesn't quite understand. What also strikes me is Peter's use of the word know, K-N-O-W. Knowing is mainly cerebral. A form of knowing can happen all over you, like when ticklefish bump into you. But knowing facts occurs mainly between your ears. I happen to love knowing. I love knowing there are stripers and flounders and porgies and bluefish in the deep water of the Long Island Sound and ticklefish in the shallows. But just knowing things isn't the same thing as waking up early to watch and hear the fisherman go out and being with his family to greet him back with buckets of fish or no fish at all. I didn't know that their well-being depended in part on the monetary value of the fish he caught. I was caught in the adventure of his departure before dawn on the smooth, glassy water, and then his arrival at mid-morning when the waves had started to mature. The full emotional power of agape has little to do with knowing facts. That high level of connection thinks nothing of status, nothing of sex, nothing of politics, nothing of bank accounts. Agape is not phileo either. It's not about being members of the same club. To me, agape is something like the experience of taking communion. As a lem, I can see the wonder in many of us here at Grace when we kneel at the rail. It's a slightly altered state that I, too, feel. It's something like awe, only warmer. The emotion of awe is getting a lot of attention lately, but I don't think that awe itself is enough. Awe is delightful, luscious, wonderful, but there has to be action too. Because unfortunately, in life, there will also be pain. A net too heavy, coal that needs to be shuffled. Jesus is telling Peter, and maybe telling all of us, to be prepared for difficulties. We will be taken where we do not want to go. It may not be Romans with crosses and nails. It may just be old age with restrictions we never experienced before, changes and losses we hadn't anticipated. Even then, we will not be alone. God willing, there will be helpers among us who follow Jesus, who will feed and tend to us in many ways, and who will help us drag the net. Jesus Christ will be there with us too, perhaps preparing a breakfast on the beach. Amen.
Amen.